You know, I have to say the current state of bombers or really any other vehicles that are specifically made for ground attacks in this game are really not in the best place they could ever be. An example of that is something like the B2 Spirit, we have the B29 Bomber, we have the Su-25, we have the F4 Phantom, and those are all vehicles which are specifically used to be a powerhouse in terms of overall bombing enemies. Well, in this video, guys, I will actually be taking a look at every single one of these vehicles, and I'll be covering how these vehicles could actually be fixed and actually make them special in this meta once again, because they have not been in the best place ever. And you know, the funniest thing out of all is that the helicopter is literally better at doing a job of a bomber than most bomber planes in this game, or planes that are made to be ground attackers. I feel like the A10 Warthog is probably the only vehicle that's currently in a good state. But anyway, let's just jump into the first one. I'm gonna be moving into the Ju-87 Stuka, and this vehicle is actually pretty easy to fix. The way in which they tried to make it better in a sense was just simply by giving it better firepower. They gave it an AI turret, and that was pretty much it. But let's actually focus on this bomb. This bomb, whenever it was first released, was actually able to one-tap pretty much every single tank. Now, after all tanks can actually upgrade their health, this is no longer very much the case. So the simple way in which we can actually fix this vehicle is just simply going to be adding slightly more damage and also giving this bomb higher area damage in a sense. So maybe we could make the Stuka carry one bomb that has the power of the Super Hind, perhaps. I feel like this vehicle would actually become usable if we were to do something like that. It's such a cool vehicle, but really there's no reason to actually use it in this game. Now, the next vehicle, which pretty much is in the same spot for a very long time, I almost see this thing never being used, and it's very sad, but the F4 Phantom in real life is an absolute beast in terms of being able to carry weaponry. I believe it can carry up to even 14 things at once or so, if not more. So this plane, from what I'm understanding in War Tycoon, is just made to be a vehicle that fully focuses on the napalm bomb, since it is the only vehicle in the game that actually has them. So I feel like an easy fix for this vehicle is just simply editing its weaponry and giving it 4 to 6 extra bombs, so it has like 6 to 8. I feel like this would fix this vehicle and actually give it a purpose, because it would be a multi-role bomber in a sense, but at the same time it would still be able to do its main job, which of course is going to be the bombing idea. Now, the next vehicle right here, which is also unfortunately in a terrible state, this might be the biggest punching bag in War Tycoon's history. Whenever the B29 Bomber was released, everybody was going crazy because it was the first gigantic bomber we had in this game. But right now it's just so easy to counter. The bombs pretty much do nothing, they have terrible area damage. So here are some cool ways in which we could actually fix this vehicle. The first one being is going to be splitting its bombs and giving it different types of bombs. For this I would offer 3 types. One of them would be the guided bombs. You would be giving this vehicle only 2 guided bombs, which would be doing the damage of the A10. So simply, if you are fighting a tank, the tank would actually be in trouble because you would be able to do at least 50% of their health. However, in return, this vehicle would take 3 parts to spawn. So all bombers in this game, or the gigantic ones like this one in the B2, would be taking 3 parts. With this, we would also be giving it 2 bunker buster bombs, or the bombs that the Super Hind has, so that would be equaling to 4, and then the leftover bombs will be 6 of the standard ones and 2 of the napalms. I think this would fix this issue so much because it would actually make this vehicle unique. And now lastly, the AI turrets would also be fixed, and they would actually be able to do some kind of damage against the enemies, because this is actually a very important part of this vehicle. It does have some self-defense in terms of air combat. Now next up, we are moving into the Su-25 Frogfoot, and this vehicle was so cool because they released a feature on it, which was the rockets. It was the first ever plane which is able to use the unguided version of them, and I'd love them to actually do a little bit more of that. And my idea for it would be to just add slightly more rockets onto it. I believe they could make the air missiles just slightly more stronger and make the bombs basically bunker buster bombs, just like the Super Hinds, because this vehicle after all is a paid vehicle, and the Super Hind is also paid. Since they're both paid, I feel like they should just get the same treatment. And now quickly moving into another plane, and that's the Harrier II. As you guys can currently see, it says ground attack aircraft with veto, and yes, this is what this vehicle is actually used for. And the fact that the Harrier does not have bombs really does make me question what actually happened when they added it. I feel like they just didn't want to make it stronger than the F-35. So the way I would actually be fixing it right now in the modern meta is giving it slightly better turn rate and also adding 4 bombs on top of that. I think that would fix the Harrier and just give it a lot more uses. I don't think they need to make these bombs insanely powerful, because veto with bombs would just be working just fine without any issues. I don't think it should be able to penetrate bunkers like the Super Hind. However, now lastly moving into the biggest fall-off of War Tycoon's history, and that has to be the B2. Once again, it just has double the amount of bombs to the Super Fortress, but unfortunately enough, the standard bombs just do not do the job in War Tycoon anymore, and they're also not very interesting, to be honest. So the way in which I would fix the B2 would be giving it the same treatment as the B29. So first up, you would be making this vehicle cost 3 parts in terms of weapons so it cannot be spammed. Now with this, you will be giving it 2 guided bombs, you would also be giving it 4 bunker buster bombs, which would be equaling to 6 bombs right now. However, the next thing I would actually give it to this vehicle will be the 10 standard bombs and 8 napalms. This would fix this vehicle perfectly and would just be a very powerful bomber in general, just like it's supposed to be, and it would actually have some versatility to it. Of course, I do believe that one more win which could actually make the B2 much more powerful is due to its stealth being so incredibly strong in real life and almost never being detected. So just give it infinite stealth. I don't think that will be a problem at all, because most of the time you're not going to be dying to missiles in the B2. You're always going to be dying to cannons or people that actually semi-know what they're doing. But yeah guys, for the time being, that's basically all I'm going to be having for you in today's video. Do let me know in the comment section down below if you think these fixes would actually work. Do you think it will make the B2 or really most other vehicles which are made for ground attacks much more interesting in this meta? I really would love to see them being used, because after the B2 was nerfed, we really do not see any bombers going around and there's nothing special like that going on. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day and thank you so much to all my channel members.